Alright, so welcome back to the low coding. So in today's video, we are going to build a ChatGPT clone that be able to answer from our own knowledge base. So as we know that ChatGPT is trained on internet data. So if we ask ChatGPT about our cell or our product, we cannot get the right answer for it. So as you can see right here, I asked ChatGPT to tell about me. It did not have information about me. So this is the answer that we get. So my goal is to build a version of ChatGPT that can answer from my own database. So here's some example and the demo look like. So I asked to ChatGPT about myself, and this is all information that I put inside my own database. And I can ask where I'm from. It's also extract from this data, and then it's know what is the right data to display. And right here, I'm going to ask if am I like to do hiking or not. So now it's loading. So as you can see right here, it's I'm enjoying to do the hiking as well based on the data that we have right here. All right, so this is what we're going to do. All right, so before we get into coding, so I'm going to talk about the architecture and how this app is going to work. So let's first, we're going to have our own data set in form of text or in form of the image. So we need to transform those documentation or data set into the vector. And the reason that we need to do the vector is we need to do the techniques called embedding method. So this is how the embedding works. So let's say we have the text and then we transform it into the vector. So when we plot those vector on the graph, so we can group similar data. So for example, right here, if we imagine we have 4 data sets, this one is about JavaScript, this one is about book. So when we convert it to the vector and then we plot it on the graph, with similar data, it will group the same. It's not grouping, but it's close to each other. So if we ask anything related to JavaScript, it will result in this group right here. If we ask anything related to books, so it will result in this one right here. So that's why we need to transform the data set into the vector. So after we transform our text into the vector, we need to put the vector inside the database that special that and also support that one. So we put inside the vector database, and luckily with Supabase there's a tool called Supabase PG Vector, so we can use that, and it is free as well. So we're gonna use this one. So we have the dataset converted to vector, and then we put inside the vector database, and yep, that's pretty much it. So and then let's go to the functionality search and things like that. So first, we put, let's say we ask a question, and then we need to transform those questions into the vector as well. And then based on that vector, we use it to query from the vector database. And from that vector database, it will result in multiple embedding and multiple recording. And then we need to put all of that into the ChatGPT model as the context injection. And after that, it's gonna spit all the result that we can see. Right, so this is how the global overview and how the app's working. And so yep, so everything right here is created to this documentation and this blog post right here. And this is not me, not invented this one, but this one is just I get it from all this documentation. I leave everything in the description as well. All right, okay, so what do you expect from this video? So what we're gonna learn and what we're gonna do in this video is the first, we're gonna learn about to do authentication, we're gonna do the page protection, and then we're gonna do the route protection as well. And then we also have to do role-based access and role-based policy, and we're gonna use the tool Supabase Vector DB and ChatGPT API as well. For role-based access right here, for our app is very small. We have 2 pages only. So this page is the home page, and that you can ask a question. And this is a dataset page. That this page is only allow for the admin role only to be able to insert the dataset, and this page is allow for authentication user only. And all right, so that's pretty much it. So let's get coding. All right, so right here I have break down all of the tasks into small subtasks that we can see. So the first thing first that we're gonna do is we're gonna do set up the project. If we click on here, so we're gonna create the next app, and then also we add the library UI to this one. So let's do that. So right here, going back into my terminal, I'm gonna run yarn create next app. Now this one is gonna be chat clone, and we're gonna use with TypeScript, ESLint yes, Tailwind yes, and source directory yes, app router yes, and this one I'm gonna go with no. Alright, so right now I'm gonna open this one with Visual Studio Code. So I'm gonna cd into ChatGPT clone and open it with Visual Studio Code. So you can use any text editor you want. Alright, so right here we get the boilerplate from create next app. So the next step that we're gonna do is to add the dependency or library that we need. So go into the ChatGPT documentation and go into installation, click on next.js. And this step we have already done that, so we can just copy and paste and run this one. So, and I'm gonna copy and paste this one. Here we're gonna use with TypeScript, yes. And for this one, I'm gonna use with the New York style. I'm going to choose Slate, and for the app CSS, so we're gonna inside the source folder, so it's gonna be source/app/global CSS. And for this one we can choose yes, and also this one we can yes as well. Just press enter for this one, and this one press yes, and this one we need to use y. And so right now it will return inside this conflict right here, so you can see one's with the TS and what with the JS right here. So we can just remove one of this one, so we can just remove this TS right here, so it's fine. And so it result in the tailwind.js right here, that from the ChatGPT library. So it's also create the component JSON for us as well. And if we look right here, we gonna have the libs and the component which is empty content for now. Alright, so right now we install these libraries already. So I'm gonna use for the icon, I'm using this one, so I'm gonna install this one as well here. So I'm gonna do yarn add React icon. Okay, so once that's done, I think we can complete our task right here. So then we can move this one to done. So next we are going to do authentication with our GitHub. So this is a task. So what I'm gonna do is I want to log in with GitHub. So after that I want to create and automatically insert the user inside the user table. That the users table is gonna have the default role and as a user, and this is the table look like. So for this one we just want to have their ID and the role, and we don't want to get more information. But if you work on a more useful application, you should be store more information about user, let's say their display name or their avatar. For now I don't really need it, so that's why this table is very simple right here. Alright, so let's move this one into progress. So let's go back in here. So right here I have created the new project from Supabase, so make sure you go ahead and do that. So let's go into the table and create a new table for this one. So this one is going to be the user table, and so right here we have the ID, created at, just leave it as it is, and then we're going to have the role, and the role right here is going to type text, and for the default value is going to be user. So whenever we insert into this one, it's going to be the user right here. So right now let's hit save this one. And for the next step is for the trigger and things like that, we need to create a function for the trigger and function first. So this function right here, so we're going to create a function, and then for I'm going to call create user on sign up, and this one is going to be public, and the void right here is going to be trigger. And also this is we need the definition of this function. So right here I have created the definition for this one already inside this task. So for the function trigger right here, so I can just copy and paste this one, so we can speed up this one. So I can just paste this one, so you can see right here, so I can explain you what it does right now. For this one is going to be insert into the public user table that we just create. And so when we log in with the GitHub, and we're gonna generate the UUID for us, and so we're gonna have this one right here. And for the returns, it's gonna just return the record. And here we just insert the ID because all it will automatically insert for us, and also the created at also created for us as well. Okay, so right now we just do this one and click on show advanced setting, and this one we need to choose the security definer. Okay, so right now I'm going to click confirm. So right now we have this function. I think I messed up something. Let's go back into the user. I think for the ID right here I need to edit this column right here. So let's go right here, and then for this one I want it to be the UUID type. Okay, so and then we can click save. I see. So right now it cannot cast, so we can just if you face these issues, you can just remove this record and just do it again. So I can just delete this field right here, and then you can add this again. So let's go with the ID, and then you can just type up this one is going to be a UUID type. and we don't have to put any default right here, and it's not going to be allowed null. It is going to be primary. Okay, so right now let's click on this one and save this one. All right, so right now we have this one, and then the next step is we're going to create a trigger. The trigger is going to be the trigger from the auth table. So whenever we create a new user from the auth table, so the auth table is inside right here. So right now, you can see this table right here, we do not have any information about any user, but if there's a new record that just insert into this table, we're gonna call the function that we just create. Okay, so going back to the database, and let's go into the trigger right here. And right now we can choose the auth trigger, auth, and then we create a new trigger. And I think, as you can see right here, right now for this UI right here, there's a bug that it's only allowed to access the public user table only. But we want to take the trigger from the auth table, so this is not going to work. We're not going to go this way, so we need to create the we can go the other way. If we go to the actual editor, and then we can just copy and paste everything that to create a trigger for the auth table user. So for that, I have created this one already, so I can just copy and paste right here. So right now, as you can see, this is our trigger name. This is the function name. So the function name is the function that we just create. So make sure it's match the function that we just create. So right here, I'm gonna copy and paste the function that we create. So I believe this one is going to be create user on sign up, which is nice. And then for the trigger name, I'm going to do the same thing. So for this one, let me explain you. So this one we create trigger, and this is the name of the trigger. So you can name this whatever you want. And this is like the event of it. So it's like when this trigger is gonna happen. Like, is it before or after, and things like that. So this one is like we wanted to do it after the insert on the auth table. If there is a record on the auth table that has been inserted, so after that we're gonna call this function right here. And this one we need just for each row, and then we're gonna execute this one. Okay, so right now we can just click run, and you can see it's successful. And if we going back right here, if we go on the trigger and choose on the auth schema, and we can see that we have a new trigger. All right, so this is complete. So right now we have create a function and create a trigger for it. So right now let's go back into our auth our code, and then we're gonna create the auth page and connect to Supabase. Alright, so right now we're gonna connect our app to Supabase. To connect our app to Supabase, we're going to follow this documentation right here. You can find everything related to do authentication with next.js by this documentation. And so right here, the first thing first that we're gonna do is to install all the dependency, and I have done that already. So the next step is we're going to create an env file and then put all of the key inside from Supabase inside our project. So right here, outside the source folder, I'm gonna do env.local. And then we can paste this one. So next is we need to get this information right here. So to do that, you need to go to project setting, go to API, and then you can see this one. This is the URL, and this is the anon key public. So for this one, and then I can just paste this one, and then I'm gonna paste this copy and paste this one as well. Alright, so right now we have this one complete. So let's go ahead inside our apps. Let's create the auth page, and I'm gonna create the auth. And inside here we're gonna do page.tsx, and let's do the RFC. So right now we have created the auth page. Let's navigate to this one. So you can see we have this page right here. Let's do some styling and add some component that so we be able to do the login. So I'll give the class name, and then I'm gonna do with this one to full, and height screen. Let's do flex, and then justify everything into center, and then let's do the item center as well. Okay. So inside this one, I'm gonna give the width of this one to 96. It's gonna have the border, and then let's do the shadow to SM, and let's do padding to P5, and then let's do rounded to SM as well. Okay, so inside here we're gonna have the H1. So this one is gonna be like the message is gonna be welcome to Delhi AI, and then we're gonna have a paragraph for this one. For this one, I'm gonna copy and paste the text that I've written right here. So this is gonna be a string, and there you go. So right now, if we look at this one, nice. Let's do some styling to our text a little bit. And for the H1 right here, I'm gonna give this one to text to font of this one to bold, and the text to LG. And if you can see, there is some red line right here. It's just the way that we use a string, so maybe we can just convert this one to string, and okay, and it would be something like this. And then for the paragraph right here, let's just do tag this one to SM. Okay, all right, that's look good. So the next thing is we're going to create the put our button so that we can do the login. So for that, let's go ahead and the ChatGPT library, and then go to documentation, and you can click on the button right here. And this one is how to install it, so you can click on right here. And then we're gonna open the terminal, and then you can just copy and paste the command. So this one is will edit the component into our projects. All right, so you can see it's done. So right now we have installed the button right here. So let's use it. So right now we have the button, and as you can see, the button is created inside this component right here in the source code. So this way, if you don't like any style or anything, you can just go and customize the way you want. But I like everything is good for me by default. So this one is going to be logins with GitHub. And also let's do some styling to this one as well. Let's class name, and then we're going to do width to full. And the BG of this one is going to be indigo 500. Okay. So right now, let's go back. All right, this is looking good. But as you can see, this one is like, it's very close to each other. So let's do some styling, maybe adding some space between this one. So it's going to be space wide to 3. So this way, it's going to be some separating and spacing between these two. Okay, now let's look good. So the next thing is what we're going to do is do login with GitHub. So when we click here, we're going to do the login. But before we're doing that, we need to enable login with GitHub inside our Supabase dashboard first. So let's go back inside our Supabase, and let's go to the provider. So you can see there's a lot of provider, and then you can choose GitHub. And right here, we need information of the client ID and the client secret. So to get this information, you need to go into your GitHub. So if you don't know, you can go to your profile and then setting, scroll down to developer setting, and then let's go to OAuth app. And right here, you can create a new OAuth app. So I have created an OAuth app already, but I'm going to explain what each field does. This is application name. You can name whatever you want, but it should be named based on the application that you build. The URL right here, you can put the localhost is still fine, and the description here is optional. And for the authorization callback right here, you need to copy and paste this one. So we copy and paste this one, and you can paste it right here, okay? And for the enable flow right here, depend on your application. For my case, I don't want it to do the device flow. So for this one, I'm leave it unchecked. Okay. So right now I have created this one already. So I'm going to go into the existing one. So for this one, as you can see, I have a client ID. So I'm gonna just copy and paste this one, and I'm gonna generate a new one. And then I'm gonna just copy and paste this one, and paste right here, and then let's do enable and click save. So right now our GitHub's provider on our Supabase dashboard is enabled, and let's go back inside our code. So the way that we do this one is, so right now the page is rendered from the server, but if we do on click on the button, it will not work because the on click is gonna do it on the client. So we need to transform this one into the client component, and the page is still rendered from the server as well. So for that, I'm going to create a component, and then for this component right here, I'm going to call this one auth component.tsx, and then we can just do the snippet right here, and we can just copy and paste everything that we have written right here. So come here, and then we can copy this one, paste this one, and then we need to import the button that we have right here inside here as well. And then we need to transform this one into the use client. All right, make sure it hits save. And right here, we can just do the auth component. Okay. All right, so right now we have this client component inside our server page. And let's go back inside our auth component right here. So for this one, we're going to create the Supabase client, and then we can create a function to handle the login with GitHub. So I'm going to create Supabase equal to create client component and this one, and then we're gonna create a function called handle login with GitHub right here. And then we can just call this functions in here. So we're gonna do on click, and then we can call to this one. Very nice. So for login right here, it's gonna be really simple. And then we can just use supabase.auth.sign-in with OAuth. And then right here, we're gonna give provider. It's gonna be GitHub. And then we're gonna have some options. And the option right here is gonna be a redirect to. So right now, when we do login or authentication with Supabase, we need to do redirect to, and we need to create a callback so then we can exchange the code and save the session and cookie inside our next apps. So for that, we need to create a route for it, and the route is going to be called auth/callback. That's where we're going to redirect to. So for that, we're going to do location.origins, and this one is going to plus auth callback right here. So the location origin right here is equal to localhost 3000. The reason that we do not put the localhost 3000 right here is when this is location origin, it will be dynamic. So imagine if you deploy this one to production, this one will be your URL. So whatever that you get it from here, it will be localhost origin. So that's why we put this one. Okay, so right now, before we going to click on this one, and we need to create the route callback. So for that, inside the auth, I'm going to create a callback for this one. Yeah, callback, and this is gonna be the route. It's gonna be route.ts, and so we can just copy and paste it from the document right here. So if we go scroll to this one, this is the middleware, and this one right here. So you can see, and we choose this TypeScript and just copy this one and paste this one right here. So we can remove this database right here. We don't need this one. So the database right here is just a type that you can export it from the Supabase, and then so we can give IntelliSense, okay, which table do we have. It's a good thing, but for now I don't want to do it, and we will do it later. Okay, so right now when we have this one, I think we are ready to do authentication. I think, but maybe we can do the middleware, create a middleware as well for now. Let's go here, and then inside the apps and the source right here, I'm going to create a middleware .ts, and then I can just paste this one, and same thing, we can just remove this database right here. I think when we create a middleware, I think we should restart the server. Let me take a look at it. So if I'm going to open this one, and yeah, maybe we need to do, I'm gonna do the reload for this one. Okay. Alright, so everything is working as expected. So alright, so right now we are ready to test this out. So everything goes smoothly. When I click on login with GitHub right here, it will do the OAuth for me, and also auto import the record inside our database as well. So click on authorize, and this one, it should return me back to the home page. And also we need to check if it's actually create our record. So let's go inside our table right here and check our user. So as you can see right here, we have this user ID created at and with the default role as well. All right, so that's pretty much it. So right now, if every other user that's coming in, so this will auto import and with the default role. And for the role right here, since this is the one that I want to be an admin, so I'm gonna change this role of this user is gonna be admin. So this is gonna be a manual change for one time only. Maybe this is when we go into the role-based path, it's gonna be more easily to understand. But for now, I'm just changing manually for this user, specifically for this user only to be admin. All right, so right now, our authentication is complete. All right, so right now we're gonna do page protection. So we're gonna work on this task. So for page protection, we're gonna focus on two pages. For the home page, we allow authentication user with the role of user to access to, and we're gonna create one more page data set that allow only user with the role admin to access to. So we need to create to do the home page first. All right, so let's do that. So for this one, let's go into the home page, and we have a lot right here. So I'm gonna remove the unnecessary things. And then to do page protection is very simple. So first we need to call Supabase, and for this one it's gonna be rendered from the server. So we're gonna create the server component client right here, and for this one it's need a cookie, and this one is going to render imported from the cookie header right here. Alright, so this one is going to be as the object right here. Alright, so right now we have the Supabase right here, so we can get the user session, and if there's no session, we're gonna redirect back into the auth page. Okay, so this one we can have the data is gonna be await Supabase dot auth dot get sessions, and then when we do the await right here, we need to do the asyncs for this one as well. Alright, so right now we have this data, and then we can check if data dot session, if there's no session, so we're gonna return redirect, and the redirect key is gonna go into the auth page. Alright, so this is pretty much it. So right now we protected the home page. So if I navigate to the home page right now, so you can see since this user is authenticate, that's why we be able to log in and see this page right here. So right now we're gonna do the same thing for the auth page. We need to protect it as well. So if the user already logged in, we don't want to show this page to the user as well. So for that, let's go into the auth page, and this one is gonna be render the same thing. So we can just copy and paste everything from the home page, I guess. And come back here, then we can copy this one. And then also we need to copy all of the imported from this one as well. So, and this is gonna be this one, but instead for this one we check if the user has a session. If there's a session, we're gonna redirect them to the home page. So right now if the user try to navigate to the auth page, they cannot, because right now we do the protection on this page right here. Very nice. Alright, so right now we are complete on the home page of this one. So let's move on to build on the dataset page. So for that, inside the apps folder, I'm going to create another folder called dataset. And inside this dataset, we're going to create a page.tsx. And then we're going to do this one. Alright, so right now for the UI of this one, we do not focus anything yet. So we just focus on the protection. Same thing from the page right here. I'm going to copy and paste everything. So mainly we can just copy and paste things around. Alright, so right now, and this one is great. Then we need to do just the A thing right here. So for this one, the first thing first that we're gonna do, we still do the same thing. We check if there's a session or not. If there's not session, we're gonna return to the auth page. But we need to do one extra thing, is we need to check if the user role is admin or not. So to do that, we can get the user ID. So first we can try to fetch the data from our database. So we're gonna do await Supabase dot from our user table dot select. Mainly is gonna be select role, and then we're gonna do equal. The ID is gonna be equal to data dot session dot user dot ID right here. So if the ID is equal, we're gonna get that one, and then we're gonna do select single right here. So right now we're gonna have data. I think this one is gonna be role. That actually console log this role right here and see what is the result of this one. Okay, so right now if we go back into the terminal, so we have null of this one. Maybe let's try to go back and go into the data set. And right now we can see we right now at the dataset page, but if we check on the console.log, okay, right now we got null. Okay, so let's see what happened. Supabase, and then we select a role, and ID is equal to this one, and we select single. Okay, that's weird. I think this one, if we look at our database, we have this user ID right here, and then for now let's actually console the user ID. So console.log user session .id, and okay, so right now we have this one. Okay, I see the reason is we got null is right now we do not implement the policy to be able to read the user data yet. So if you can see right here, there's no active role security level. So we're gonna enable this one. So click on get started, and then click on the read access this template. And for the select, I allow only the authenticate user to select our user only. Okay, and then let's click on true, and then click on save policy. And so right now if we go back, we should be able to see this role right here. So if we go back in here, we should be able to see this role and admin right here. For this one we do not, we just put it as a data Okay, maybe as a user. Okay, and then we can check if the user dot role, if it's not equal to admin, so admin. So if it's not equal, we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna redirect them back to the home page. Not if session again, but if this one. Okay, so if the role is not admin, we're gonna redirect them to the home page, and if not, we can just stay here. So right now I'm gonna do this one as a data set, so then we can see the result better. So right now, as you can see, if I refresh this one, I still be able to stay here since the role is an admin. So if I come back here to the users table and I change my role to the user, and if I refresh this one, so you can see it will redirect me to the home page. I cannot be able to access this one. So right now it's only the admin page that be able to go here. All right, so right now I want to change this back to the admin, so since we want to work on an admin on this one. Okay, all right, so right now we complete on the dataset page as well, so we finish this one. So let me move it to done. So the next part is we're gonna focus on building the dataset page. So right now we're gonna work on the dataset page. So right here is all of the thing that we need to do. So the first, we're gonna create the UI and document table and create embedding and insert into the document table. All right, so let's do that. So going back here, and let's go into the dataset page, and we have right here. So let's do some styling to this one. So for this one, I'm gonna do the max width to 4XL, max auto, and I'm gonna give this one to the height to screen, and let's move everything to center, and then just flex just by center, and then item center. All right, so next we're gonna have this div right here, and this one is gonna take the full width of the 4XL, and then let's do the p5 for inside this one as well. And this one is gonna be the title of it. So this one is gonna be, let's say, daily AI dataset. Okay, so right now let's see what it's look like. So we go back in here, and then if we navigate to the dataset page, we should be able to see this one. Okay, so some icon to this one a bit. So let's go into React icon, and for maybe let's do check on the database, and I'm gonna take this icon. So I'm gonna copy and paste this one, and we can just import this one. So import from BS database React icon, and then we can just do BS, and then for this one we're gonna place it right here. So for that we can just do this one side by side. So we're gonna do flex, oops, we're gonna do flex, and then we're gonna do the item center, and then let's do the gap of this one to 2. And now let's increase the size of our icon. Let's do width to 5 and then height to 5 as well. Okay, so next we're going to create a form. That this form is going to be able to insert our table. So for that we're gonna use the text area, and so we need to install it from here. So I'm going to search for text area, and for this one, let's go here and copy, and then so we're gonna install this one. Open our terminal, and then we can paste this one. All right, so right now we have installed our text area. Let's go back in here, and then just do the text area. Text area, this one, nice. And for this one, we can just do a placeholder, add your data set here. And for the class name of this one, I'm gonna increase the height of this one to 96. So if we going back right now, we should be able to see something like this. Very nice. And then we're gonna do the button to do the submit. So button, and then this one is gonna be submit. And then for the class name, let's do the import first. Right now it seems it's not import. Button. And for the class name of this one, let's do the width of this one to full. Okay, so right now we should be able to see this button, but everything right now is very close to each other. Let's give some space on this one. So for that, let's go back in here, and then let's do space. y and 2 3. Okay. Alright, so right now we have some separation between these two, and for this page let's make it as an uppercase. Okay, and the next thing is we're gonna do the when we click on this button right here, we're gonna take this input and generate the embedding. So for that we need to create the API for it. Alright, so right now we're going to create an API to generate embedding. So right now, as you can see, we're gonna take this text from this text area, and then when we submit, we're gonna transform this text or dataset here into embedding. But the way that we do that is we don't want to call to OpenAI inside our client, because it will expose the API secret key. So to do that, we need to create the server or a new endpoint. And so then when we submit this one, we can just call to that endpoint, and then we can get it. All right. So the way that we do that is we're going to create the new route. I'm going to call this one embedding. And inside this folder right here, I'm going to create a route called route.ts. And for this one, we can just get the boilerplate. It's from the next.js documentation. So I'm going to copy this one. And then for this one, instead of the get, we're going to do post request. Okay. And so for now, let's see, test this one is working. So we're going to do next respond.json. We're gonna respond to JSON back, and for this one is just for now it's testing. Okay, testing, and then hello. So right now let's test this one by using the postman. So I have my postman right here. It's called to localhost embedding, and so right now if I click call on this one, it should return me okay, testing hello. Okay, very nice. So right now, what we need to do is we need to send the text from our text area to this one so we can get it. So the way that we can get this one is to, let's say, right now I'm going to change this one to request. So we're going to have the request is going to be equal to await request.json. And so right here we will be able to access the JSON that come from our, let's say, from the postman right here. Whatever that you send right here, we can access it right here. So then we can return this one back. So for now, so let's do request. Maybe we can just return this text, the request right here, and see what happened. So now if I click hit send right here, it will be testing one right here. As you can see, we can get this test one right here. So right here we can do check condition. If the user do not send the text, the object with the field of text, we're gonna return back to the user, hey, you don't send this one, please, it's invalid, something like that. So if request.text, this is the key that we want. If this one, if we do not get this one, we're gonna return them with the message return with the text, and this one we're gonna have the message. We can say invalid request, missing key text. Okay, and then we can also give the status for this one as well. The status is gonna be 422. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, remove this one. Very nice. So right now, if we send this one, so the key, you can see the key here is wrong, right? Text one. What we need is the text. So if I send right here, we should be able to see the status 222. And for this one, it's gonna be the missing key invalid right here as well. Very nice. So right now we have this one, and L if we have the key. So right now this is the place that we need to call to Supabase based on this tag, and then we're going to generate the embedding. Alright, so to do that, you need to install the Openai library. So please go ahead and do that. So, and I have done it already. And the next step is you need to create an API key from ChatGPT. So when you go into the openai.com and then you log in, and then you can go to your view API key. So right here, you can create a new, generate this one, and then you can copy and paste that. And then let's go back inside our app, and then also go inside the env, and then you can create a new env. Then you can name it whatever you want. In my case, it's gonna name Open API key, and you can paste your secret key right here. All right. So right now we're going to import the OpenAI, and then we're gonna config this one. So we create the OpenAI constant right here. And then right here, we're gonna put the API key. and the API key is gonna match with the API key that you put. All right, so this one is gonna be the process.env.openai key. Okay, so right now we have the OpenAI client right here, so then we can use it to call to OpenAI and then generate the embedding. So for this one, we can do OpenAI.embedding.create, and then inside here we're gonna pass the input of the text that we wanted to generate the embedding, so which is gonna be request.text, and then we're gonna use the model. So for the model that we're going to use is this one, so it's gonna auto import for me. So since it's TypeScript, so this one, so it recommend to use embedding this one right here. All right, so this one is gonna be a promise, so we can to do the await, and then we're gonna have the result right here. Okay, so and then we can just return the user with this information right now. So for now, we can just return the result and see if it's working or not. Okay, so right now let's go back inside our Postman and try to run this one. So let's say I want to transform the hello to embedding right here, and if I click on this one, it's gonna take some time because it will make request to OpenAI. So as you can see right here, once the result in, we have the object and we have the data, and also we have the embedding right here. Okay, nice. So now we get this one, so we can extract this information. So const embedding is gonna be equal to result.data index 0 dot embedding, and one more is gonna be the token on like how many words of this result right here. So result dot usage dot total tokens right here. So then we can return this one to the user with the embedding and the number of token as well. So right now let's try to run this one again. So as you can see, we have the embedding. I think maybe we can just show the token first, and let's run it again. So you can see we have 2 token and the total 2 token, and this is the embedding it's look like. Okay, very nice. Alright, so right now it's complete, but I think one last thing that we should do is we need to handle the try error from this one as well. So let's do try and catch on this one. So whenever we have this error right here, it's gonna raise a try catch. So we can do just try here, and then we're gonna do catch with the, and then we can do something like this. So whenever that happened right here, we can just respond to the user it's something went wrong and with the status of 400. Okay, so let's do with the message and something went wrong, and then we're gonna respond with the status of this one is gonna be 400. Okay. Alright, so right now let's say if I put the wrong model that did not exist, that something is wrong, and if I try to run this one, we should be able to see something went wrong and status 400 right here, which is really nice. So then we can handle that easily on from our component. Okay, so right now this API is ready, but one last thing that we need to do the protection on this one, right? So right now anyone can just call to this page and then make requests and get the result, but we don't want that. We want to only our authentication user to call to this one and get that. So for that we can do the cookie. So I'm gonna constant this one is auth, check the cookie of this one. So we get the cookie header, this cookie is a function, and then we can get the key of this one. So whenever the user is logged in, we can get the cookie of the Supabase auth token, and then we can check on this one if is auth, check if is not auth, if the user is not authenticate. So we're gonna return next respond dot JSON, and then we're gonna do with the message is gonna be unauthorized. Okay, and then we're gonna with the status 403. Alright, so this is the way that we protect the route from unauthenticated user. So right now from the Postman, this user is not authenticated, right? So if we going to try to request this one, right now you can see we unauthorized. So right now no one be able to call to this API unless it's authenticate. So then we can be able to use it and call it from our component right here. All right, so if you wanted to call from here, we need to transform this one into the client component. But right now this one is in the server page. So I'm gonna cut out this one and create a new component for it. So inside the dataset right here, I'm gonna create another folder called component. And inside this component, I'm gonna call this one is gonna be forms.tsx. And we can run the snippet, and then we can just paste this two right here. And then we need to import everything from this one, and then we can place it right here. So right now the error is gone, and then we can re-import it back, right this one. So it's gonna be form. All right, so right now if you go back, as you can see, it's still the same result. So go back inside the form right here. So first we need to get when we need to click on this button, we can get the value from text area right here. So the way that we do that, we can get the input ref, and then we can do the use ref right here. And for this one, we're gonna do as react dot mutable objects HTML text area element, and then we can have this reference to this text area right here. So it's gonna be input ref, and then we need to use this client right here. So otherwise it will fail since we use ref. It's gonna be use client. Okay. All right. So right now we're gonna do the handle. This one. It's gonna be handle submit. It's gonna be equal to this one, and then we can just put on, when we click on this one, we can call handle submit. Okay, so inside this handle submit, so the first thing first that we're gonna do is when we click on this one, we can get this value. So the way we do that is gonna be create a variable. It's gonna be equal to content, and content is gonna be equal to input ref dot current dot value, and then we can check if the content, if it is content, and content dot trims. So if it is content, and then we can do the console.log, or we can call to get the embedding right here. So right now I'm just do console.log content. All right, so we go to inspect right here and go to console.log. If we submit right now, there's nothing because the content is empty. If we add something right here, as you can see right now, we have this data right here. Okay, so right now we have this content, so we need to make the post request to our embedding, and then we get the embedding value. Okay, so the way that we do that is pretty simple. So we're gonna do call fetch, and we're gonna call to locations.origins plus / embedding, and then we're gonna pass make sure this one is a post request. So we're gonna put the method, and the method is gonna be equal to post, and we're gonna put the body of this one, and the body of this one is gonna be as the string is gonna be JSON that stringify this one, and we're gonna have the text as a field, and this is the value that we place. So it's gonna be the content. And based on the document and the blog post that I read, so ChatGPT want us to, it's best practice to remove all the end line with the space. So the way we do that, we're gonna do replace, and then we do some regex on this one, and then we're gonna do /end, and then it's global of this one with the empty. Okay. All right, so right now we can do a wait of this one, and then we can get the response in JSON. And all right, so right now let's do the things right here, and for this one we can check the condition if the res.status is not equal to 200. So we're gonna do some toast error right here. So maybe as of now I'm gonna create a function called handle error or toast error, and then right now we're gonna do alert error. So then we can come back and update this later, but for now we can just have the function right here. And else, if it's not happened, so let's just do else. If it's not happened, let's console.log. So we can get the data from this one. It's gonna be the result is gonna be await res.json, and then we can console.log the result right here. Okay, so right now if we go back in here, if I try to do hello world, and if I press submit, so if everything goes smoothly, we should be able to see token and the embedding as well. All right, this is very nice. But right now, as you can see, when we submit on this one, we should do some loading and show that we are doing some fetching and things like and stuff like that. And after it's complete this one, we should remove all the input from the input area as well. So we can do the value right here is going to be empty. And the other thing is we're going to keep track of the states loading. So we're going to have the loading and then set loading is equal to use state, and by default it's going to be false. And then so when we submit on this one, we're going to do set the loading true, and after the end of this one we're going to set the loading to false. So set loading back to false. Okay, so and then on this submit right here we can use an icon and then we can do some animation on this one. So let's go into the spin loading right here. Maybe I think we can find with the loading instead. Loading, and I'm gonna take this one, and so we can import this one. So import from React icon, and then this one is gonna be AI, and then we can use this one right here. So scroll down into this one, and then for this one we're gonna give a class name, and the width of this one is gonna be 5, and then height of this one is going to be 5 as well. Okay, and then this one is going to be, okay, if it's loading, and then we're going to see, I think first maybe we do not do condition, we do some styling first. And if we go back right now, we can see that it's like this, it's nice. And for the style right here, maybe we can do flex and gap of this one to 2, so it has a little bit some spacings. And for this one we can do the animation spin, so it will spin. Very nice. So right now for this one we can do loading, and we can do this condition like this. All right, so right now it's gone. So if I wanted to do it again, hello world, and then if I click on submit right here, and it will loading, and once we have the data it will remove this one and the loading is gone as well. Alright, so right now we have created embedding and this one, so but we need to store those embedding inside our database. So the way that we do that is we need to create a database that support the way that we insert this embedding, this vector right here. So for that we can go into the Supabase dashboard, and inside right here we can go to SQL editor. And so for this one I'm gonna follow this documentation. As you can see, this is the way that we going to create the table for it. And yeah, I'm gonna copy and paste this one, and this one is gonna be the ID. This is the content of the data set is embedding, and also I want to add another one. It's gonna be token, and it's gonna be in as well. All right, so right now if we hit run on this one, okay, the vector here does not exist. So I think the first thing first we need to do, we need to enable extension of the database. So for that we can go to database right here, and then we can go to extension, and then make sure you scroll down, and or you can search on this one, a vector, and then make sure you enable this one. So then the database will support vector. All right, make sure you do that. And then let's go back inside here. We can do in copy and paste again. And then we're gonna have the token right here, and the type of this one is gonna be in. All right, so if we hit this one, it's very nice. And then if right now you can see we have this document table. Right now it do not have any role level security yet, so I'm gonna dismiss this one, or maybe we can enable. We enable role security level. Okay, very nice. And let's set some policy for this one. And for now, for read of this table, we're gonna do, if only you are authenticated, we allow you to read. Hit save. And the other thing is we wanted to this one is we wanted to insert. So for insert right here, so as you can see, the page that to do the insert is allow only the admin only to access, right? So what we want is to allow only the admin role to be able to insert as well. So the way that we do that is we go to insert authentication, and then we need to do select role from public dot user table, where public dot users dot id is equal to auth dot id right here. And so this is what we want, the condition. So whenever the authenticate user requests, and then we select the role, and from public user where the user that ID is equal to the auth ID, and then so we get the role, and then we can check the condition one more if this role is gonna be equal to admin. Alright, so right now if we click on review and we hit save, here we got a problem, auth.id, I think it's gonna be auth.uid. So, and then hit save again and save. Alright, admins column, admin does not exist. I think it's a string, so we need to do single quotes only. And we hit save. Alright, so right now our policy is successfully. So for insert, we only allow admin to insert only, and for read, we allow all authenticate user. Alright, so right now let's go back inside our code right here. So right here we have the result, we have embedding. So we can destructure this one. Embedding is equal to result dot embedding, and the other one is going to be token is going to be equal to result dot token as well. Alright, so based on this one we can insert, so we can call Supabase. So I think we do not have any Supabase client inside this one yet. Let's create this one. So Supabase equal to create client component, and then let's go back here. So Supabase.from documents dot insert, and this one is we're gonna have the content. Our field is gonna have the content, so this one, and then we're gonna have the embedding, and also we're gonna have the token as well. And let's do a wait on this one, and then let's do I'm gonna extract only the error come from this call right here. So then we can check again if there's an error. So if there's an error right here, we're gonna do toast error, and else we do not we can do else, we can say to toast successfully right here. Okay, I can do alert successfully, and I think for this one we can reset the input inside the else right here as well. I think I misspelled this one. Successfully insert. Alright, so right now let's go back and try to insert our database data into our database. So I'm gonna do the hello world, and let's hit submit, and hopefully everything is okay. As you can see, we do successfully insert. So, and then let's look at our database and go into, as you can see right now we have our dataset content, and this is the embedding. Alright, so right now I think everything successfully. Let's try to make this one even better. So we can do customize some of the toast. So for the toast right here, we can use the component from the ChatCN. So if you can find the toast right here, and very nice. So this is what we're gonna do. So we're gonna install the toast, this one, and we're gonna go click on John, and when we come back here we paste this one. Alright, so right now it's installed successfully. Let's go back. So first we need to import the toaster, and the toaster I need to put, I'm gonna put it in the layout. So we import the toaster right here, and inside right here we can put the toaster. And to call this one, so we need to use the use toast right here inside of our form, and we need to toast, and then we're gonna have the toast is equal to use toast, and I think this one we need to destructure from it. So we have this toast right here, and for the alert error right here we can just do toast, and then we can have like a description, fails to create embedding. Then we're gonna have the title as well. So I think the title should be failed to create embedding, and the message should be something like something went wrong and something like that. So the message should be something went wrong. Okay, and for this one it's gonna be a message. Maybe we can have like a default message for this one. So default message is gonna be something went wrong. So we can have the message right here, and then so when we use the toast error, so this one we can use this one, and for this one we can do the error dot message as well if we have some error from this one. Okay, so right now let's go back inside. So also for the alert right here we need to change to toast instead. Toast And let's do the title only. We're gonna do success, fully create embedding. Okay, very nice. So right now let's go back and do this one. So let's try to add another data set. So let's say hi for now, and let's hit submit this one. So as you can see, we have the alert and toast at the bottom right here, which is looking really nice. All right, so right now we are complete our data set and insert and create the document table as well. And all right, so then we can move this one to done. And the last step is we're gonna implement the search functionality. All right, so let's do that. All right, so in this part, we are going to build a search functionality inside our home page. So our task, we're gonna build a UI, lockout, and query embedding. And all right, so let's do it. So this is what our UI is gonna look like. And all right, so let's do this one first. And right now our home page just display this one. Let's do some adding this style for this page. So for this one, for the layout, we're gonna max width of this one to 5XL, max to auto, and height to screen. And I want to put everything inside center, so I'm gonna do flex, justify center, and then we're gonna do the item to center as well. And then we're gonna have another layout inside this one, and which is gonna be class named, width is gonna be width full, and the height of this one so is gonna be 80 VH. So if you look at the tailwind config right here, I have extending the another height which is the 80 VH right here. That's why I have this set this one. So I'm gonna do rounded SM, it's gonna be shadow SM as well, and then we're gonna do the border, and for this one I'm gonna do flex, and then we're gonna do flex call inside this one. Okay, so this is our layout, and as you can see, so for this one, so you can see for the daily AI, and we have the button on click to log out, and we have the input right here. So all of this is going to be inside the client because we're gonna handle user interaction. So for that, I'm going to create a client component inside, and then we can import it back to our server page right here. So for that, I'm going to create another folder called components right here, and inside I'm going to create a search.tsx. And all right, so right now I can import it back to our page, so it's going to be search right here. Okay, all right, so inside our search right here, we're gonna have the input. So for the input, we can import it from the chat CN right here. So I'm going to install it, so copy this one, and then we can run this one. All right, so right now our installation is complete, so we can import our input inside our search component. So it's gonna be input, and the placeholder for this one is gonna be ask daily AI question, and then also I'm gonna give it a little bit bigger, so I'm gonna do P5 right here. So if you look at right now, we should be able to see something like this, but for this one I wanted to push it to the bottoms, and that's why we do the flex and flex call right here. I think for this one I'm gonna give it like a P5 to have some padding around this one as well. Very nice. And then for this page, I go uppercase. So the way that we push that to the bottom is that's very simple. So we can add another div, and for this div we can do the flex 1. So right now everything is gonna push to the bottom right here. All right, so right now we have this one. Let's do for this one we can do the height of this one, just only 80 VH, and if the overflow Y is gonna be auto. Let's build the header. For the header right here, we're gonna have another div inside this one, and then we're gonna have this one. It's gonna be daily AI, and then we're gonna import from the for this one I need to have the H1 right here. So for this one we're gonna use the icon. It's gonna be BS robot. So and it is from React icon BS right here, and I can make it a little bit larger, so it's gonna be width 5 and then to height 5 to 5 as well. So right now it will look something like this, so we need to align it on the same line. So for that we're gonna do class name, flex, and then we go item center, and the gap of this one is gonna be 2. And all right, so it looked very nice. So it's looked something like this. Nice. So the next thing is we're gonna have the button to do the lockout, and then the button is gonna be lockout. So make sure we import this one from our button component. Okay, so and alright, so then this one we need to align it side by side and push it to the end of this one. So for that it's very simple. So we can just do flex item center, and then for justify of this one, we're gonna do space between. So it's gonna push this one, and we're gonna do the border at the bottom as well. So we're gonna do the border B, and I'm gonna give the PB to 3 as well. Alright, so this is looking great. So now UI is almost complete. So the next thing is we're just gonna have the question and answer. So for that, it's gonna be really simple. So we're gonna have this div right here, and for inside this div we're gonna have another div that hold the question and of the logo of the question as well. So for the H1, so for now I'm gonna put the question as in static. So let's say how to set up Supabase with next.js, and with the question is we going to have the icon. So it's gonna be PI seal. I think we can maybe try to import from here. So import from React icon / PI, and then for this one it's gonna be do PI seal questions sent. So this is what the icon that I want. So I can replace it right here. And same thing for this one, I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So it's gonna be width 5 and then height to 5 as well. And for the questions right here, I am going to give it a flex, and then we're gonna do item center. Gap of this one is gonna be 2, and we're gonna do the text for this one is gonna be indigo 500. Okay, here and below of this one is gonna be the answer. This is the answer. Alright, so we have this one, and then we can have like a space between these two. So for that we're gonna do space y to 3. And there you go. So right now it will look something like this, but it's kind of very close to each other. So I'm gonna give a little space between these two. So for that we can do the space y to 10. So then we have some separation between these two right here. So right now, as you can see, we have some little space. Very nice. So right now our UI is complete. So it's look like this. So the next thing is we're gonna do the lockout functionality. So right now we're going to do the lockout. So for the lockout, it's gonna be really simple. So the first one is we're gonna create the client, Supabase client. So create client component right here, and then we're gonna create another function to handle the button on click. It's gonna be handle lockout. And for handle lockout right here is just gonna call supabase.auth.signout, and then we can just do a wait right here as well. And then this one is going to be in asyncs. And so when we lock out of this one, we need to do the router.refresh, so then we can redirect the user back to the auth page. So the way we do that is gonna be router is called use router, and this use router should be import from next navigation. Okay, so and then we can just call router.refresh later inside here. Oops. So alright, so right now we have this function. We can just call this one inside our lockout. So when we unclick on this one, and we're gonna call to lockout. Alright, so that's pretty much it. So let's come back here and test this one. So I click on this one, it should redirect me to the auth page, which is really nice. And if I try to go back, it will redirect me back to the auth page. Right, so now let's go back to the our home page by logging again. Okay, our lockout is complete. So let's do the query embedding. What we want is when we type something inside our text input right here, and when we press enter, we should call to handle the search and get the embedding and search, get the result to the user. And so the way that we do that is we can create a function to handle on search. So for example, right here we can do on key down. We can check on key down on this input right here. We can check if e.key is equal to the enter key. So it's equal to enter key. So as of now, we're gonna do the alert search right here. Okay, search. So make sure that it works. So if I come here and I press enter, so you can see we do the alert search. But rather than call this one, I'm going to create another function that's gonna be responsible for handle search. So it's gonna be handle search and then we can replace the alert with the handle search right here. Okay, so we can just call this one, and for the handle search right here, we can get the value from our input, and then we can call to create embedding. So for that, we're gonna create input ref equal to use ref, and this one is gonna be as reacts.mutable objects HTML input element, and then we can put the input ref right here to our input. The ref is gonna be equal to input ref. All right, so right now, based on that, we can get the search tag. So we're gonna create search text is gonna be equal to input ref dot current dot value, and for this, so based on the input text right here, search tag right here, we can call to the embedding API that we just created. So we can just create the search text if there's a search tag, and the search text dot trim. So we want to make sure that there's a value inside the search text, and then if there's a value like that, we're gonna call in to get our embedding. So for that, we're gonna do fetch locations. I think we can go into dataset and copy from that one, and we scroll right here, and then I think it's inside the form. So this one right here. So this function, this is what we want, and I'm going to come back here. So, and then we can just paste this one, and so for this one we need to pass the we need to have the eighth. So then we do, and for this one it's gonna be the search text right here. Okay, so right now the response from this one is gonna be, we have the response, and then we can check the condition, similar thing with the form that we have here. So for that, I'm going to copy the toast error from this one as well, and then we can create it right over here. Okay, so right here we're gonna import the use toast. So I'm gonna import, I think the use toast is from the use toast right here. So we're gonna do use toast, and then we're gonna have the toast. There's gonna be the structure from the use toast right here. Alright, so right now we have our toast error. So then whenever we have this error right here, we can just call that. So we can check if the rest.status, if it's not equal to 200, and then we can just do toast error right here. So I think if you can see right here, this is gonna be like a duplicate and things like that. I think maybe we can make this one better later for the improvement of this one. We can, like, you know, create a common function or create a common hooks for handle this type of situation. Alright, so right now when we have this error, we're gonna toast, but else if we do not have this one, so this is where we're going to call to fetch the embedding from our database. So first we can get the embedding that we just create first. So it's gonna be await rest.json, and then right here we're gonna have our embeddings data. So right here we need to create a function to fetch to our embedding inside our database. So for that, we can follow this documentation. So the way that we do that is we're going to create an RPC function that handle for that one. So it's gonna be this one right here. So make sure you copy and paste this one and come back here, and then go into the SQL editor, and then we can paste this one. So for this one, it's going to be return a similarity based on the embedding that we have. This is what the function is doing. So it's passing the parameter as a query, and then we need to match threshold that we want, and then how many records that we want to get back. And this is what we want. We will return the content similarity, but I want from this one, I want to have the token return from this one as well, and the type is going to be in. And for this one, we need to query from the token as well. Okay, so dot token. All right, so if we this one successfully, just click run, and then if we go back and then look at the function, we have this match document right here. Very nice. So right now we can go back inside this one, and then we can call that one. So we're gonna do await Supabase dot RPC, and then we can put our function. So our function is gonna be match. Make sure I put copy the right function name. So match document, And then with this one is going to have the parameter for this function is going to be query embedding. So if you look at this function right here, if we go into the edit function, so you can see this is the argument. So first is going to be the query embedding, and the next one is going to be match threshold, and the second one is going to be match count. Okay, so for match count right here, I'm going to put 10, so you can put how many record that you want to match this one. And for the threshold right here, I'm going to put the 80%. And this is like the threshold, like, okay, the search data, it's a similarity to our existing data, how many percentage that the similarity that we want. So I wanted to like at least 80%. And the embedding right here is going to be getting from the data dot embedding. Okay, so data dot embedding. Okay, so right now we have this one, so we can get our document. So we can have data, and then this is going to be document. So then for now, I'm going just to console.log this documentation. Okay, so we're going to do console.log, and then we can do document right here to see the data that we just get from this one. Okay, so everything goes smoothly. So if we go back inside here, and then let's go to inspect and go to console, and then let's type something. So right now our data inside our database, we have only one record that was about me, and as you can see with inside document, this is the data that I just created. So as you can see, this data is mainly about Sok Heng, which is about me, so I have added to this one already. So maybe we can come back and ask our form right here about our Sok Heng. So let's say tell me about Sok Heng. So right now, so we do not do anything, so it's gonna be really hard to see. And I think why do not do the console? So maybe it takes some time. Let's look at our network request. So if everything goes smoothly, so if I press enter, so right now we generate the embedding. And now we're fetching the documentation, and I think that should be have the result. Okay, very nice. So you can see we have the result right here. The threshold of this one is 89, but so that's why we have this one. And we have, since we have only one record that related to Sok Heng, that's why we return this one. So for example, if I ask me like tell me about let's say JavaScript, Java, okay. I think right here we do not have any record. As you can see right now from our embedding, there's nothing that related to the Java, and the threshold of it might be below 80%. That's why we do not get any record. So right now we have this embedding. So we need to put this embedding and then inject it into the model of the ChatGPT, because we cannot just return this data into the user, because let's say if you have multiple record about this one, so you don't know which record that you wanted to tell to the user, right? So that's what we want. So we want to create another API that's gonna responsible, and then we're gonna fit this content to the ChatGPT model. Right, so for ChatGPT model, there's a limit to the number of token that we can have sent. So right now we can try to limit some of our token, and if it exceeds our token, and then we can just not to send this one. So for that, we're gonna generate the prompt with our context. So for that, we can just do for let I equal to 0. So we loop through our documentation. I less than documents.length. And then we're gonna do I++ right here. Okay, so for this one, we can get each of the document is equal to the document index of I, and then we can get the content from this one is gonna be content equal to documents.content. And so from our content, we have the token as well, so we can do the token count. So for that, I'm gonna keep track of the token count. So it's going to be token count is going to be equal to 0, and then we can increment it over time. So token count plus equal to documents.token right here. So because if you look at this one, so when we fetch right here, you can see we have the number of token of our record. So that's why we can do this one right here. And then we can check if the tokens count is bigger than 1000, this number, and then we can just do break the loop. We don't want to get more content from this one, so we can just do break. And then if not, so then we can just do let context text is going to be equal to an empty text, and then for this one is going to be the context text is going to be equal to plus equal to the content, and so we're going to have our content right here. So we have our content, we do the dot trim on this one, and also we're gonna add the end line to this one as well. So it's gonna be end line and dash dash end line as well. Okay, so right now we have this context text, and then based on this context text we are going to generate the prompts that add to this context text right here. Alright, so to generate the prompt, so we can follow from this documentation. So there's a prompt that we can ask to ChatGPT to represent as our representative to, as you can see right here. And so we can just copy and paste it off this text right here. And I think we can just copy and paste this one right here. So const prompt right here. And then we going back here, I'm going to create another function. It's called generate. It's going to be equal to this one, and then we're gonna have this one right here. And for this one we're gonna pass the context text as a string, and also we're gonna pass the search text as well as the string. And then rather than query right here, we're gonna do the search text. Okay, so right now for this one we need to import the library. So I'm gonna copy this one and open my terminal. I'm gonna run yarn add this one, and also for this one it's not support TypeScript, so we need to install the type for it as well. So it's going to be types common tag this one. Alright, so right now we can import our this two function right here. So let's go back in here. So it's going to do import, and then the other one is this one is going to be from common tag, and this one is going to be the one line. Alright, so right now the error should be gone. So but as you can see on this one right here, you can change this context to the based on the product that you want. So this one is like you are enthusiast Supabase, so maybe we can change Supabase to let's say for example for now I'm going to do daily AI, and this one from Supabase to daily AI, and I think this one is great. And if there's unsure, they should respond with the I don't know right here, and the response can be in the markdown as well. So, okay, so right now we have this one, so let's return the prompts right here. So I'm gonna do return the prompts. Okay, so right now we have our generated prompt, so we can call it back on the handle on search. So for this one we need to check if there's any context text. So if there's any context text, so then we can just generate a prompt, and then we can pass the context text and then the search text right here. And then right here we're gonna have the prompts. And alright, so right now when we have this prompt, so we need to call to to Openai we chat to pass the prompt and return a result for us. So for that we are going to create the APIs to handle on that one. So for that we're going to create a new folder. So right here I'm going to create a new folder called chat right here, and inside this chat folder right here, and we're going to create a new route. And for this route it's kind of similar to embedding, so I'm going to copy and paste everything from embedding, so then we can change a bit later. So for this one, I can remove this one right here, but the authentication right here, it's the same thing, so we need this one. And then then the request right here will take the prompts from the request JSON. So we can have request, we can do await request.json, and then from here we can destructure the prompts back, and then we can, based on this prompt right here, we can call to Openai and then generate the result for us. So we're gonna do await Openai dot completion dot create, and inside here we're going to pass the prompt, and then we're gonna have do the model, and the model is gonna be text-03, and then the max token. So this is the number of words or token that you want to return back. And then for now I'm gonna go with this one, and then the temperature of this one is going to be 0. Okay, and so alright, so we have this one, and we can try and catch catch any potential error. So right here we can do catch, and the catch right here we can just do a really simple response if there's any error, and then we can just do something went wrong right here. Alright, so right now for this one, so for the result of this one, we're gonna have the result, and the result is we can just return response.json, and then for this one, so when the response from here, we're gonna have like a choice for this one, so it's gonna be this choice, and the response rest.choice right here. Okay, and then alright, so I think that's pretty much it. So this is gonna be our API. So then for this one, we're gonna call it from right here. Alright, so now I'm going to create another function to call to our chat API. So we're gonna do generate answer, gonna be equal to this one, and then for this one we're gonna have the prompts as the parameter that we pass it from this one. So and right here we can call similar things, so we can call here, so maybe I can just copy and paste this one, and then for the embedding we can just change embedding to chat, and right here I'm gonna add the a thing, and then rather than the text right here we can just put prompts only. So right now we're gonna put a prompt. So right now we have this rest, so then we can do the same error handling. So for that I'm just gonna copy and paste this one. If there's any error, we're gonna do toast error L if we do not have that, so we can get the data back. So data is gonna be equal to await rest.json, and for this one we're gonna do update the state for, but as of now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna console.log the data. Okay, alright, so right now if we going back right here, if I remove this one, so since our data in our database is only about Sokheng, and so we can let's add something about Sokheng. Okay, tell me about Sokheng. So right now it's I think if we take out the network, it's gonna do it's fetching, and then we're gonna call to the chat API. Let's see if I'm called. Okay, as you can see right here, I haven't called this function yet. That's why we do not see anything. And then we have this prompt, and then we can do the await for this one as well. Okay, right now let's try to call this one again. And if you look at the network request, so it's called to this one. Right now it's pending on the chat, so it's complete. As you can see, we have the choice, and so we get the answer like Sokheng is something like that. And alright, so this is all information from our record, but as you can see, they replace the word Sokheng with day and things like that. So this is get it from the ChatGPT. Okay, so right now based on this one, so we need to update our static state. So right now the question and the answer is static, so let's not do it. So let's update this one. So for that we can create a function, create a state called questions, and then we're gonna do set questions is equal to use state, and this is gonna be an empty array, and this is gonna be a string. So I'm gonna create another one, is gonna be answer, and then we're gonna do set answer, and it's the same thing. So the reason that I don't want to put this one inside the same state, because the first will just adding the question and the answer will come later, so that's why I do separate between these two. And the other thing is we're gonna have the loading as well, and sets loading, and it's equal to use state, and the first one is gonna be false. Okay, so when we call the handle search right here, we're gonna do set the loading is gonna be to true, so there's some loading, and by the end of this call, at the end of right here, we should be set the loading back to false. And then for the set question, it's gonna be go right here. So set question, so we're gonna have the current question, and so for this one we can just spread the current question, and then we can add the search text right here as the existing question right here. All right. So right now, when we have this question, I think for answer, will come back for this one. So we can loop inside this one. So we have questions dot map, and then right here we're gonna have the questions, and it's gonna be an index of this one. And for this one, we can just do return this everything's right here. Okay, and inside here we're gonna have the key. The key is gonna be the index of this one as well. All right, so right now for this question, we can just replace this question with the this one. And for our answer, it's gonna be something like this. So we can have the answer is gonna be answers. It's gonna be index, and then for the loading, we can check is loading is gonna be equal to is it's loading, and also it's not answer. So if we do not have any answer yet, so it's gonna return as the loading. And then right here we can do condition. If it's loading, we can return the h1 loading. Else we're gonna put our answer, and we're gonna replace this is the answer with the answer that we have. Okay. All right. So right now we have this one, and then but we need to update our answer as well. So the place that we're going to update the answer is inside the generate answer right here. So right now we have this data that we get. So when we call to this one, so let's say again, I'm going to do tell me about something. So the response is going to be, I think the data.choice if we do inside the console.log. All right, so you can see we have the choice right here. And then this is the choice index 0 and then text. Okay, so for that we can do set answer is going to be equal to the current answer, and then this one is going to spread the current answer, and then we're going to add the data dot choice and index 0 dot text. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. So right now we have this text, and for the other thing is I wanted to do for the generate answer. So if there's a context to this one, so we're gonna generate. But what if when we ask ChatGPT and there's no context inside our database? So if we do not have any context, ChatGPT will return with the answer if they know. So in this case, we wanted to prevent that from happen. So if we do not have any context that are related to the questions, so we going to set the answer to something like this. So maybe, sorry, there's no context related to this question. Please ask some things about, okay, this is just for example. If let's say if your product is something else, maybe you can say, okay, please ask something about Supabase and things like that. So right now we have this one and everything is complete. We want to remove all the content so from our input. So input.value is equal to empty right here. So we just reset this one. All right, so I think everything should be complete. So right now if we ask again, tell me about soaking. So you can see we have the question and there's a loading. So since the answer is still fetching, so once we have the answer, it will replace the loading with this one. Okay, very nice. So we can ask something else. Let's say, where is soaking from? And so this one, it will extract and know which path of to answer. Okay, this is working really well. And another thing that I would like to mention is that this is not a conversation. So if you see this one, so if I ask, tell me about Sokheng, and then let's say is he like to hiking? Okay. So right here there's no context related to he and hiking as well. So this is not, so we do not have any context related to this one because there's no previous conversation, there's no knowledge about that. I think the way ChatGPT does is they put the previous context. So every context that you have here, it will store inside the state. And so when you ask another question, it will add up the previous context with the, let's say, the query context that you have. So then it will respond with that data. So that's how the conversation works. But for now, I'm not gonna working on that. So maybe we can update it later. So this is what I want to show and I want to build in this project. So maybe we can up this one update later. So another thing is that ChatGPT is not free. So whenever you do the query and embedding and respond like that, it will cost you some money. You can check out the usage as well. All right. So I think that's pretty much it. So of our video, and we learn a lot in this one. So hopefully you enjoy in this video, and let me know in the comment if we missed anything and if there's anything that we can improve. So hopefully you enjoyed this one, and also thank you so much for Supabase that sponsored this video. And all right, see you in the next video. Peace.